Continuing from the previous episode 437. Chapter 1366, The Final Training. There are still around 5 days left before 3 years is up. This heavenly tomb trip will come to an end. Xun by the side smiled and spoke as she studied the expression of contemplation on Xiaoyan's face. Xiaoyan could not resist sighing softly when he heard this. He did not expect 3 years to pass in the blink of an eye. Although only half a year had passed in the outside world, they had trained bitterly for 3 years. Although the training was bitter and dull, it was fortunate that its effects were unexpectedly good. Xiaoyan had only just advanced to a 6-star Do Zun after entering the heavenly tomb back then. However, he had reached the peak of an 8-star Do Zun. Adding his many techniques and the clan tattoo, he would be able to fight even a 9-star elite Do Zun. The 3 years had allowed Xiaoyan to experience a drastic transformation. Haha, it is also time to leave. Time really flies. Xiao Zan by the side also laughed. His voice contained a faint sadness. The heavenly tomb might enable him to live in another form, but it also left him with an endless loneliness. He was like a criminal trapped in a world void of liveliness. Ancestor, will you still continue to exist in this manner in the future? Xiaoyan was silent for a moment before inquiring. Xiao Zan softly sighed. He nodded and replied, "This is the price for surviving in another form. We cannot leave the heavenly tomb. Once we step out of here, we will instantly vanish. Hence, we can only survive in this world in this manner and endure the loneliness." Hearing the faint desolation in Xiao Zan's words, Xiaoyan's heart felt extremely terrible. Xiaoyan and Xun had only stayed in this place for 3 years, and they found that it was difficult to stay longer, yet Xiao Zan had been stuck in this place for hundreds or even thousands of times longer than them. "Is there any other way for you to be revived?" Xiaoyan slowly asked. "Ha, I am aware that you are an alchemist. Some high-tier medicinal pills can indeed revive a person on the brink of death. However, I am a soul that died a countless of years ago. Moreover, this soul is incomplete." Xiao Zan smiled and appeared quite open-minded. He patted Xiaoyan's shoulder and said, "Little fellow, if you feel terrible in your heart, you should try your best to break through to the Do D class. If you can reach that level, you might think of a way to help me escape. However, it is pointless for the current you to think about. The reason that I have endured the loneliness and remained here is not because I wish to be revived. Instead, I had hoped to be able to pass down the bloodline strength of the Xiao clan. I did not want the bloodline strength of the Xiao clan to be buried in this dark heavenly tomb with me." Xiaoyan inhaled a deep breath of air and suppressed the churning emotions in his heart. He was aware that what Xiao Zan was saying was true. Even if Xiaoyan really possessed a method to free him, he did not possess the ability to do so. "Ancestor, please rest assured. I will definitely return to the heavenly tomb again. However, I will have broken through to the Do Shen class the next time I return." Xiaoyan replied in a deep voice. Although it would be extremely difficult to reach the Do Shen class, he would do his best no matter what. A, B, C. Xiao Zan smiled in a pleased manner as he studied Xiaoyan's grave face. He suddenly beckoned with his hand, and Xiaoyan's storage ring shook. A palm-sized light cluster drifted out and stopped in front of Xiao Zan. "This is..." Xiaoyan was slightly startled when he saw the thing that floated out. He could see a fist-sized piece of jade suspended in the light cluster. A mysterious aura was vaguely emitted from it. "This is the insect queen of the ancient devouring insect. This insect queen has also reached a level equivalent to the Ban Shen class of humans, but it is currently in hibernation. Otherwise, you would not have tunneled through the energy wall so easily." Xiao Zan smiled and informed them. "Ban Shen class insect queen?" Xiaoyan's face twitched when he heard these words. His hand quickly became a little numb. It was really the case of the ignorant being fearless. If he had known that this thing was that terrifying, he would not have grabbed it out of curiosity. No wonder the ancient devouring insects had become crazy after we exited the crystal wall. It was because Xiaoyan Gege had brought the insect queen out. Xun curiously glanced at the jade object and laughed. "If you were allowed to take this thing out and it woke up, the insect queen would quietly enter your body and secretly devour your Do Qi. Unless an elite Do Sheng intervened, it would be impossible to find it within your body." Xiao Zan explained with a smile. A cold sweat immediately appeared on Xiaoyan's forehead when he heard this. He had already experienced this once. Even though the current him was no longer his past self, he still did not wish to touch these damn things. Fortunately, Ancestor has sharp eyes. Otherwise, I would have ended up harmed by this damn devouring insect queen. Xiao Yan spoke with some fear lingering in his heart. Ha ha, this insect queen is indeed troublesome. However, it is the best material to make an ancient insect emperor cloth. Xiao Zhan smiled. He started to explain when he saw Xiao Yan's uncertain eyes. The ancient insect emperor cloth is a kind of special defensive dough skill. After refinement, it will be able to take on an armor shape that covers one's body. This thing was most popular during the ancient times. Based on my expectations, if this insect is used to refine the ancient insect emperor cloth, it will likely be able to endure an attack by an elite Ban Sheng without being destroyed. Oh! Xiao Yan's eyes brightened when he heard that this unassuming thing could actually endure the attack of an elite Ban Sheng. His body already possessed the Dragon Phoenix ancient armor. If this ancient insect emperor cloth was added to it, he should be able to retain his little life even if he were to endure a blow from an elite Do Sheng, right? You can rest assured. Leave the refinement of this thing to me. I will hand the ancient insect emperor cloth to you before you leave. Xiao Zhan smiled and said, the current you should make full use of the time to do another thing. What thing? Xiao Yan asked in a startled manner. To finish off the two members of the Hun clan. After suffering such a great loss, one cannot just forget about it, right? A member of the Xiao clan is not magnanimous. Xiao Zhan spoke with a faint smile. Hun Ya and Hun Li, huh? Xiao Yan's eyes shrank after listening to his ancestor. He replied, how can I forget about those two? However, it is just that I am unaware of where they have hidden to at this moment. Xiao Yan's current strength had soared. If he were to face Hun Ya and Hun Li, he would be able to finish the both of them off without having to summon the Sky Demon puppet. The only living individuals on the heavenly tomb were the few of them. This place was filled with danger. Even if those two were to die in this place, it was likely that no one would know. It was really the best location for murder. As long as they are still in the heavenly tomb, they will not be able to escape my senses. Xiao Zhan gave a slight grin. He gently waved his hand. The space in front of him fluctuated as a crack line slowly formed. Xiao Yan shook his head. The corner of his mouth was lifted into a dense cold smile. He did not say anything else as he strode forward and entered the spatial crack. Xu and followed close behind. Xiao Zhan smiled when he saw the two of them vanish into the spatial crack. This could be considered Xiao Yan's final training before leaving. A faint energy fog lingered in the air of this endless land. Energy bodies would occasionally drift by. They were extremely silent, appearing just like ghosts. A figure wearing a silver armor was seated in the air above a messy rock ruin. Powerful energy spread from its body. Clearly, this figure was an energy body that had reached the 9-star level. At this moment, this energy body's eyes were cautiously sweeping the area below. Although not a single person was present, his many years of instincts caused him to feel a hint of danger. The energy body focused for a long time, but it was to no avail. But this 9-star energy body had just relaxed when the space around him suddenly froze. Two black chains penetrated empty space with lightning-like speed. They were accompanied by a ringing sound as they rapidly penetrated this energy body. Subsequently, a black figure appeared in the empty space in a flash and grabbed the 9-star energy core. These energy bodies possess a great energy, but they do not have the slightest fighting strength. That black figure randomly put the energy core into his storage ring. He raised his head and revealed a ghastly young face. It was surprisingly Hun Ya from back then. There are quite a number of powerful energy bodies in the deepest parts of the heavenly tomb. However, that fellow is too frightening. It is best to stay away from him. Another figure appeared soon after. A face covered in frightening scars revealed itself to be Hun Li. HMPH, it is unexpected that there is an expert from the Xiao clan in this heavenly tomb. That bastard Xiao Yan really has quite good luck. Hun Ya's eyes were shady. He continued in a dense voice, we are leaving the heavenly tomb soon. Remember to use the spatial jade token to leave once we get out. If any news spreads, the GU clan will definitely hold us back. As for Xiao Yan, HMPH, once we have the opportunity in the future, I will naturally lead some people to eliminate the Falling Star Pavilion along with him. Han Li slowly nodded. A rich killing desire filled both of his eyes. They had been subdued by Xiao Yan ever since they had entered the heavenly tomb. How could these two proud fellows accept this outcome? There is no need to wait until next time. Would it not be a lot easier to resolve things now? You too, aren't I right? However, a mysterious ripple suddenly appeared when Hun Lin nodded. A soft laughter slowly spread as two figures stepped onto empty space. They appeared with smiling faces while Han Ya and Hun Li appeared gloomy. It says Do Sheng here, but a couple of paragraphs before it talked about breaking through to the Do D class before he could DP anything to help here. B. Correct, but he can't be saying, I will have broken through to the Do D class, when there has not been a Do D for more than 1,000 years. I see. Could we add an at least to the to let the reader know that he will attempt for more? Right now, it seems weird to mention Do D and then only say he will come as Do Sheng. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Continuing from the previous episode 438. Chapter 1367. Kill, Xiao Yan. Han Ya's and Hun Li's expressions slowly darkened when they saw the two figures steadily walk out of the void. Xiao Yan gently stretched his body. He and Xun were suspended in the air. His eyes were looking at the Hun duo below in a slightly teasing manner as he said, It has been 2 years since we last met. Looks like the both of you have not been doing very well. Han Ya's expression was gloomy. His eyes suddenly swept around him, but his heart quietly sighed in relief after failing to find that mysterious expert from back then. He coldly laughed, Xiao Yan, you should not be overly arrogant. Even if I cannot get rid of you in the heavenly tomb, you will sooner or later be a homeless stray once we leave this place. Since that is the case, I should get the both of you to remain here forever. I think that given the strength of the both of you, you should be able to become 8-star energy bodies, right? Xiao Yan faintly smiled. However, his words caused a chill to rise within Han Ya and Hun Li's bodies. 8-star energy bodies were basically lowly existences in the 3rd level of the heavenly tomb. If the two of them were to become that existence, it would be much better to simply die. You really think too highly of yourself. Han Ya's duo narrowed their eyes. Their tones were dark and sinister. After having exchanged blows the last time, they understood that they were unable to easily defeat Xiao Yan and Xun. However, Xiao Yan's group did not have the ability to stop them if they wished to escape. Is that so? Xiao Yan grinned and softly wondered aloud. Just what qualifications do you, trash from the declined Xiao clan, have to act arrogantly in front of us? If you hadn't been relying on a woman's strength, you would have already died many times over. Hun Li coldly ridiculed. The murderous desire in his eyes appeared extremely dense. If he wasn't afraid of Xun, he would have already attacked without control and completely finished off Xiao Yan. Do not be impulsive. They naturally possess some confidence to have the courage to appear. Let's withdraw first. Han Ya appeared a lot calmer. Although only Xiao Yan and Xun had appeared at this moment, he could vaguely feel an uneasiness. He grabbed Hun Li and spoke in a deep voice. Hun Li hesitated after hearing what Han Ya had said. He could only unwillingly nod as he chillingly said, Xiao Yan, you better remember this. The next time we meet will definitely be the time when your falling star pavilion is annihilated. Hun Li and Han Ya flew back after saying those words. Their eyes cautiously remained on Xiao Yan and Xun. The Do Qi within their bodies began to rapidly circulate. I'm afraid that whether or not you can leave is not up to the two of you. Xiao Yan grinned and softly commented when he saw Han Ya and Han Li pulling back. Leave it to me. Xiao Yan's body disappeared in a ghost-like fashion after his final word sounded. An enchanting smile surfaced on Xun's face as she watched Xiao Yan disappear. The current Xiao Yan had already reached the peak of an 8-star Do Zun. This kind of level was stronger than the Hun duo. Hence, the present Xiao Yan was sufficient to deal with those two. HMPH. You were asking to die. Han Ya and Hun Li sensed something the moment Xiao Yan's body disappeared. A fierce glint flickered in Hun Li's eyes. His body shook abruptly as he clenched his fist, and a cold black fog surged out. It ruthlessly smashed toward the empty space in front of him. A somewhat illusory body slowly appeared when Hun Li's fist punched at the air. A long arm was extended and gently grabbed Hun Li's fist, which was covered in black fog. A frightening flame spluttered out of Xiao Yan's palm when the fist and palm collided. The dark cold fog on Hun Li's fist emitted a sizzling sound as it was completely vaporized. You have improved so little during these 2 years. How disappointing. Xiao Yan's hand was just like a rock. It did not move even a little regardless of how Hun Li struggled. Xiao Yan slowly shook his head as he watched Hun Li's expression change. Xiao Yan shook his arm and strangely bypassed Hun Li's fist before smashing the other party's chest with lightning-like speed. A frightening force suddenly erupted like a volcano that had been brewed for a long time upon contact. Bang! The fierce force made Hun Li's chest quiver. Having suffered such a heavy blow, Hun Li's expression had turned pale in an instant. A mouthful of crimson blood was wildly spat from his mouth. His body flew back like a kite with a broken string. He finally rubbed against the ground and formed a 100-meter gully before slowly coming to a stop. 8-star Do Zun. Shock suddenly surged onto Han Ya's face as he glanced at Hun Li in the gully, who was struggling to climb to his feet. Both of his eyes were filled with disbelief as he looked at Xiao Yan. The aura that had erupted from Xiao Yan earlier had reached the 8th star, and the strength of that aura was much stronger than his. How is this possible? Han Ya's mouth twitched. His heart involuntarily let out a roar. During these short 2 years, the two of them had failed to even increase their strength by 1 star, yet Xiao Yan had soared from a 6-star Do Zun to the 8th star. Han Ya was really unable to accept this kind of vast difference. It is your turn. Xiao Yan's eyes landed on the shocked-looking Han Ya after finishing off Hun Li with a fast and powerful momentum. He laughed in a faint voice. Han Ya clenched his fist when he saw Xiao Yan look over. His pupils became sinister as they stared at Xiao Yan before both of his hands formed numerous seals. With the change of these seals, a mysterious clan tattoo swiftly appeared on his brow. Although I am unaware of why your strength has soared, you are still unqualified to retain me. Han Ya's strength rapidly soared with the appearance of the clan tattoo. The sharp, miserable cry of spirits continued to be emitted from his body. Xiao Yan's strength might have soared to its current level, but it was not enough to cause Han Ya to panic. Earlier, Hun Li was at a disadvantage because he was careless. He had suffered a fatal blow before he could even activate his clan tattoo. Otherwise, Xiao Yan would not have been able to defeat Hun Li this quickly. Hence, Han Ya believed that as long as he was a little more careful, it would not be simple for Xiao Yan to retain him. Han Ya had no intention of remaining behind to engage in a bitter fight with Xiao Yan despite having summoned the clan tattoo. There was still an even more powerful Xuan watching menacingly from the side. Once she intervened, Han Ya knew that he would certainly die. He took advantage of the great rise in his Do Qi. His body turned, and he transformed into a ray of light that hurried far away. Hun Li, you can rest assured that I will help you take revenge 100 times over for this. Han Ya clenched his teeth and spoke while his body was wildly rushing away. However, Han Ya's voice had just escaped his mouth when his swift figure suddenly paused. He lifted his head and his eyes looked a short distance away in a hateful manner. A figure flapping a pair of crystal-clear bone wings was standing in the air. That mocking face surprisingly belonged to Xiao Yan. Seeing the speed of Xiao Yan, which could not be detected, Han Ya's heart also sank, but he did not hesitate much. His foot stepped on empty air and the Do Qi within his body erupted without being held back. It carried an extremely powerful energy pressure as it rushed toward Xiao Yan. There was little change in Xiao Yan's face when he saw Han Ya risking it all. His body did not retreat. He instead took a step forward. His eyes were calm as he watched that swiftly enlarging energy light figure. Xiao Yan, die! Han Ya felt a slight joy in his heart when he saw that Xiao Yan was too arrogant to dodge. Having activated his clan tattoo, even an expert Do Zun at the peak of the 8th star would not dare to clash head-on with him. Xiao Yan was undoubtedly suicidal. Han Ya was extremely swift and fierce. In a flash, he had appeared in front of Xiao Yan. A wild and violent wind pressed on Xiao Yan's robes until they fluttered. His right hand was clenched into a fist. The mighty Do Qi in his body gathered as he ruthlessly threw out a punch. Bang! After Han Ya's punch was thrown, the space in front of him collapsed. A 5 feet large black spatial line quickly expanded toward Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan, this is the fate of boasting to be more than you are capable of. You should firmly remember it in your next life. A punch that contained a terrifying wind swiftly smashed toward Xiao Yan. Regardless of how fast Xiao Yan was, he would not be able to dodge this attack. Hence, a dense cold smile surfaced on Han Ya's face. A faint ripple finally rose within Xiaoyan old well-like dark black eyes. A ridiculing smile was lifted on his face as a purple-red light flickered on his brows. Finally, a mysterious clan tattoo slowly appeared. Xiao Clan's clan tattoo? Hun Ya's heart abruptly trembled the moment this clan tattoo appeared. An unease quietly spread from deep within his heart. It's over. Xiaoyan smiled as he studied the dense face in front of him, which was in close proximity. He clenched his right fist, and a turbulent dou qi suddenly blasted forth. Bang! Both of the fists suddenly collided. A frighteningly loud sound exploded like thunder. Many 10-foot large lines began to spread swiftly on the ground like a spiderweb. Kai! A black figure suddenly flew out of the energy storm that raged in the sky. The figure heavily crashed onto the ground. The large rocks in its path were blasted into dust amid many rumbling sounds. Grug! A mouthful of fresh blood mixed with organ fragments was spat out of Hun Ya's mouth as he lay within the thick rock dust. He sensed that his life was quickly disappearing from his body. A horror and regret finally surged into his eyes. A skinny figure was slowly appearing in the sky. Indifferent eyes glanced at Hun Ya below, who was on his deathbed. His head shook as he stepped through the empty air as he slowly walked to that beautiful figure in the distance. Relax, there will be even more members of the Hun clan who will accompany you in the future. Hun Ya's eyes gradually succumbed to the darkness as an indifferent voice was softly transmitted to his ears. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Continuing from the previous episode 439. Chapter 1368. Leaving the heavenly tomb, the space within a silent ancient hall fluctuated slightly. A man and a woman slowly appeared before landing in the hall. They were Xiaoyan and Xuan, who had killed Hun Li and Han Ya. The fight this time around was truly a quick one. Xiaoyan had gone all out during both of his attacks. He had used a swift and ferocious tactic to kill Hun Li followed by Han Ya. Han Ya's duo were 8-star Do Zuns. If they were to join hands, it was likely that even an ordinary 9-star Do Zun would have difficulty finishing off the both of them. However, these two had been caught off guard, leaving them at a disadvantage. One of them was immediately killed by Xiaoyan. Otherwise, if the two of them truly risked everything, Xiaoyan would have needed to spend a ton of effort to deal with them. Xiaoyan and Xuan stayed a couple of days outside after killing Han Ya and Hun Li. Only then did they return to this ancient hall. You have returned. Xiaoyan and Xuan had just appeared in the large hall when Xiaozan's figure gradually appeared in front of them. He did not inquire about the trip's result. He clenched his hand and a pale black glow appeared in it. He randomly tossed it to Xiaoyan. Take it. This is the ancient insect emperor cloth. This thing can be worn in your body, and it is able to turn into ordinary clothes at any time. Although this requires dou qi to continue supporting it, it can constantly defend against any attacks. Xiaoyan extended his hand and received that cluster of black light. He gently held it and a smooth silk-like feeling appeared in his hand. It was extremely comfortable. Drip a drop of essence blood into it and you will be able to store it in your body. Xiaozan smiled and reminded him. Xiaoyan did as he was told when he heard Xiaozan's reminder. He dripped a drop of essence blood on the black light and the cloth immediately wiggled. It appeared like liquid as it moved over Xiaoyan's hand and merged with his palm. Once that black light merged with Xiaoyan's body, he immediately sensed a strange energy spreading over his skin like a web. It covered every corner of his body. His heart shook and a faint black light surged out of his skin. It swiftly formed inconspicuous black clothes. Is this the ancient insect emperor cloth? It is indeed mysterious. Xiaoyan's palm slowly rubbed the black clothes on his body. The soft material gave Xiaoyan an extremely tough feeling. He involuntarily praised the cloth. Ha! This ancient insect emperor cloth is something that is a must-have for many experts, especially an insect emperor cloth that has been refined from an insect queen. Its value will not be any less than a Tien class Do skill, and it is a rare object that one can only obtain through luck. After all, a powerful existence like the insect queen cannot simply be obtained just because one wishes to. Xiaozan fondled his beard and laughed. Xiaoyan nodded. Although this ancient insect emperor cloth required dou qi to maintain, this exhaustion was not much of a burden for Xiaoyan since he possessed a quasi-Tien class qi method. Hence, this insect emperor cloth could continuously remain on his body. Therefore, any unexpected sneak attack could be resolved by it. It would really reduce the amount of trouble he would face. After counting the days, you should be leaving the heavenly tomb today. Xiao Zhan gave a slight smile as he watched Xiao Yan play with the insect emperor cloth. He was quiet for a moment before he suddenly spoke again. Xiao Yan's eyes shifted away from the insect emperor cloth as he slowly nodded. Xiao Yan softly sighed, but he did not say anything. In an instant, the atmosphere in the large hall appeared a little solemn. Oh, you will ultimately have to leave. You are the only hope for the Xiao clan. Xiao Zhan grinned and shook his head. He patted Xiao Yan's shoulder and laughed. Little fellow, I will be waiting for you to return to the heavenly tomb. At that time, I wish to see if you will disappoint me. Ancestor, please rest assured. Xiao Yan will not have any face to come and see you before I reach the Do Sheng class. Xiao Yan spoke in a deep voice. Xiao Zhan revealed a pleased expression as he slowly nodded. Xun by the side watched the two conversing. She suddenly interrupted a long time later. Xiao Yan gege, time's up. The two, who were chatting happily, stopped when they heard Xun words. Xiao Yan was quiet for a moment before cupping his hands to Xiao Zhan before giving him a low bow. Ah, little fellow, the future of the Xiao clan depends on you. Xiao Zhan smiled and softly stated. Xiao Yan heavily nodded. He was just about to speak when he suddenly sensed the surrounding space fluctuate. A suction force that could not be resisted was transmitted from the surrounding space. It appeared to be forcefully absorbing the space itself. Ancestor, take care. Xiao Yan will definitely find a way to let you escape. Upon sensing the powerful suction force, Xiao Yan was aware that 3 years was up. The heavenly tomb was forcefully expelling everyone. Xiao Yan's voice had just sounded when a large gap was suddenly torn open. A suction force erupted and fiercely swallowed Xiao Yan and Xun. Xiao Zhan smiled in a pleased manner as he watched the spot where Xiao Yan and Xun disappeared. After which, he softly sighed and muttered, Ancestors of the Xiao clan, you must definitely bless this little fellow. The destruction or revival of the Xiao clan completely relies on him. Numerous figures were suspended in the sky above a lush green mountain range. Their eyes focused on the distorted space. Elder Tong Zhan, the 3-year time limit should be up today, right? A figure at a certain spot in the sky asked an elder in grayish-brown robes. Aye, Elder Tong Zhan nodded indifferently. His eyes watched the distorted space. His heart was similarly a little anxious. He was clearly aware of the danger within the heavenly tomb. If anything untoward happened to those few young individuals from the Jiyu clan, the Jiyu clan would really suffer a great loss. I wonder who will have experienced the greatest improvement this time. An elder of the Jiyu clan fondled his beard and laughed. This will depend on their own fate. Quote, quote. Kai, while the many figures in the air were chatting with each other, a black spatial mark suddenly cracked open. A few people rushed out in a flash. They are from the Lei clan. It seems that they did not suffer much. The surrounding figures slowly nodded when they saw the two figures who had first appeared. Moreover, the auras of the two were clearly a lot stronger compared to when they had entered the heavenly tomb half a year ago. It seemed that they had made significant gains in the heavenly tomb. Those from the Yao clan have exited, and the Yan clan. After those two from the Lei clan, others surfaced from the space one after another. Most of the auras of these people were a lot stronger than before they had entered the heavenly tomb, especially the case for one of the members of the Shi clan. He had advanced from a 7-star Do Zun to the 8th star. This caused many to feel some envy. Kai, another spatial crack appeared in front of everyone's eyes. Immediately, two figures drifted out under the focus of many eyes. They suddenly fell to the ground the moment they appeared. Some elders from the Jiyu clan hurriedly unleashed a gentle force when they saw this. The gentle force lifted the two bodies into the air. At this moment, they discovered that the two figures were completely void of life. They are Han Ya and Hun Lin from the Hun clan. The both of them have died in the heavenly tomb. The expressions of quite a number of people changed when they recognized the bodies. At the same time, Elder Tong Zhan frowned and commented in a deep voice. All the members of the Jiyu clan faced each other as they studied the two corpses in the sky. They were quietly gloating in their hearts. The Jiyu clan was already at odds with the Hun clan. Their hearts would inevitably possess such thoughts when they saw that those two had unluckily died in the heavenly tomb. Huo Zan and the others, who had entered the heavenly tomb with the two of them, were stunned as they looked at the corpses of Han Ya and Hun Lin. They pondered some thoughts. The heavenly tomb might be dangerous, but everyone was clearly aware of where they should venture and where they should avoid. However, why did Han Ya and Hun Lin die together? It is likely that this matter isn't so simple. Huo Zan softly muttered. What do you mean? Huo Ji's thin eyebrows twitched as she asked a question. These two were planning on attacking Xiao Yan the moment they entered the heavenly tomb. Before all of us gathered, they had exchanged blows with Xiao Yan and Xun Er. Huo Zan quietly stated, do you think that Xiao Yan and Xun Er killed the two of them? If the two were to join hands, even a 9-star Do Zun would not be able to stop them from escaping. With Xiao Yan's strength, I'm afraid. Huo Ji disagreed. Who knows? These two people are not nice characters anyway. It doesn't matter if they die. Huo Zan shrugged his shoulders. His heart suddenly shook and his eyes turned to the space behind him. The space at that spot was slowly torn as 4 powerful figures slowly walked out. Everyone swept their eyes over these figures and immediately sighed in relief. Those 4 figures belonged to Ji Yu Qing Yang's group. Ji Yu Qing Yang's group sighed together as they walked out of the spatial crack line and looked at the surrounding lush green mountains. 3 years of bitter training was really too unbearable. Huh? That's Han Ya and Hun Lin? The eyes of Ji Yu Qing Yang's group suddenly paused on the 2 unmoving figures suspended in the sky. They were immediately startled and exclaimed aloud. Dead? Ji Yu Qing Yang knit his brows and softly commented. Who could be so ruthless? He actually killed these 2 ruthless characters. Ji Yu Hua cried out in surprise. The 4 of them blinked. They faced each other. A moment later, they ended up crying out the same thing. Xiao Yan, Elder Xiao Zan did not attack back then. Given his character, he definitely felt that attacking these 2 was disdainful. Moreover, these 2 people are extremely cunning. It is impossible for them to provoke those energy bodies that they cannot afford to provoke. From this, the only possible answer is that they were killed by their enemies. However, the only ones in the heavenly tomb who possess the ability to kill them are the 4 of us if we attack together. However, we did not. Looking at it this way, Ji Yu Zhen muttered, it can only be Xiao Yan and Xun Er. If Han Ya and Hun Lin joined hands, they would be able to fight with a 9-star expert. Xun Er might be strong, but it would not be difficult for these 2 to flee. Ji Yu Qing Yang frowned as he thought about the situation. While the group was facing each other, the space in front suddenly rippled. Immediately, a man and a woman stepped on empty air and slowly appeared in front of all the eyes in the area. That is, Xiao Yan? What a powerful aura. No wonder. Ji Yu Qing Yang's group's eyes narrowed when the 2 figures appeared. They muttered among themselves. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Continuing from the previous episode 440. Chapter 1369. Hun Lin, a man and a woman's tall figures slowly stepped out of the empty space in front of a countless number of eyes. After which, they steadily stood in the sky. A gentle breeze blew over and their clothes gently danced. They were just like a pair of immortal lovers. Xun Er, Elder Tong Zan and the others studied the green-clothed woman in the sky before sighing in relief. Xun Er was undoubtedly the most important person within the Ji Yu clan. If any accident were to happen to her, they would end up with a great lose that could not be filled. That is Xiao Yan, huh? This aura. Elder Tong Zan's eyes paused on Xun Er before suddenly turning to the black-haired young man beside her. After which, his eyes hardened a little, and a surprise appeared within them. With his eyesight, he could naturally sense that Xiao Yan's aura had reached that of an 8-star Do Zun. This was many times stronger than half a year ago. His strength has increased by 3 stars. What frightening speed. Some elders faced each other. There was a shock that could not be hidden on their faces. Even though the heavenly tomb was mysterious and possessed a unique flow of time, it was quite incredible for one to raise one's strength by 3 stars during 3 years. At the very least, it was the first time that they had witnessed someone improve so much, even when compared to the many people that had entered the heavenly tomb before. Could it be because of Xiao Zan's tomb? Elder Tong Zan slightly frowned. He was extremely knowledgeable and was aware of how difficult it was to raise one's strength by 3 stars. After musing for a moment, He thought of the tomb that Xiao Zhan had left behind in the heavenly tomb. Xiao Yan and Xun Er in the sky looked around them while being stared at by the many pairs of eyes. They deeply inhaled some fresh air. After having been shut within the ancient hall for a long time, the outside world appeared extremely beautiful to them. It is unexpected that even Han Ya and Han Li's corpses were sent out. Xiao Yan's eyes suddenly paused on the two corpses suspended in the sky. His brows were lifted unnoticeably as he muttered, "Ha ha, brother Xiao Yan, it is unexpected that your strength has already reached this stage after just 2 years." Huo Zhan led Huo Ji over with a smile. He arrived while Xiao Yan was muttering to himself. Huo Zhan then cupped his hands together and laughed. Brother Huo Zhan has also progressed quite quickly. Xiao Yan smiled and replied. He could naturally tell that the current Huo Zhan was reaching the peak of an 8-star Do Zun. How can I compare with you? Huo Zhan bitterly laughed. 2 years ago, Xiao Yan was merely a 6-star Do Zun while he was an 8-star Do Zun. Now, Xiao Yan had reached the peak of an 8-star Do Zun while he had merely advanced from the initial stage of an 8-star Do Zun to a position near the peak of an 8-star Do Zun. If one were to talk about it, he was a little weaker than Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan smiled. He understood that it would have been impossible for his strength to soar this much if he had not obtained Xiao Zhan's inheritance. Congratulations. Ji Yu Qing Yang's group also came over while Xiao Yan was conversing with Huo Zhan. All of them smiled and congratulated Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan smiled and responded to their congratulations. These two fellows are really unlucky. Ji Yu Qing Yang glanced at the two icy-cold corpses suspended in the sky before he suddenly commented. Xiao Yan's brows twitched when he heard this. He immediately replied without leaving a trace, "It can be considered retribution." Hearing Xiao Yan's response, Ji Yu Qing Yang could guess that the matter of the Han duo's deaths was likely related to Xiao Yan, especially since his strength had soared. If he joined hands with Xun Er, it was not impossible to kill Han Ya and Han Li. This matter will likely be a little troublesome. There's someone from the Han clan guarding here for the appearance of Han Ya and Han Li. Ji Yu Qing Yang softly said. Xiao Yan's heart shook when he heard these words. He was just about to speak when he suddenly saw two black fogs rushing over from the distant sky like black dragons. They appeared beside those two icy corpses a moment later. Han Ya, Han Li, the two black fogs shook. They transformed into two black-robed old men who stared at Han Ya and Han Li's corpses. It appeared as though they were struck by lightning. Neither of them had expected that the two, who had entered the heavenly tomb, would actually die. Those people around also hurriedly pulled back when they saw their eyes redden. They were afraid that these two old men would suddenly turn crazy. Who? The two black-robed old men's eyes reddened, and they began to pant like a bull. A moment later, they suddenly exchanged glances. Their eyes suddenly turned and looked at Xiao Yan in the sky. Before Han Ya and Han Li had entered the heavenly tomb, they were aware that Han Ya and Han Li were planning on killing Xiao Yan in the heavenly tomb. However, Xiao Yan was currently fine and his strength had even soared. On the other hand, Han Ya and Han Li had ended up with a miserable fate. This scene caused them to immediately place their doubts on Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan! The two of them viciously stared at Xiao Yan. A moment later, one of them was unable to endure any longer. A furious roar that contained a murderous desire resounded across the sky. Xiao Yan slid his calm eyes over when he heard the roar. He asked in a faint voice, "Is there anything you wish to say?" "A life for a life." The expression of that black-robed man was extremely gloomy. His sleeve trembled after his final word sounded. A black chain that contained a dark chilly aura penetrated empty air and ruthlessly shot toward Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan's expression did not change when faced with the black-robed old man's sudden attack. He took a step forward and extended a flame-covered palm. His hand firmly grabbed the dark black chain. A purple-brown fire followed the chain and rushed down before attacking the old man. HMPH. That black-clothed elder coldly snorted when he saw Xiao Yan retaliating. He clenched his fist. The black fog was just like a poisonous dragon as it followed the chain and emitted a roar. It ruthlessly collided with the purple-brown line of fire. Bang! The fire and black fog exploded upon contact. The powerful force cut through the chain. The chain exploded in the sky, and a powerful wind swept away from the point of explosion. Xiao Yan's shoulders shook and the wind was removed. On the other hand, that black-clothed old man staggered back. Clearly, he was at a disadvantage in this exchange. Old man, a person should not behave so shamelessly. Xiao Yan threw aside the chain in his hand. His eyes were icy cold as they focused on the black-clothed elder. He coldly laughed. The black-clothed old man stabilized his body. His expression was extremely ugly. The old man's strength was around an 8-star dozun, but he did not expect Xiao Yan to gain the advantage in his hands. Hun Lin, this is the Jiyu realm, not your Hun realm. Elder Tong Zan also frowned as he spoke in a deep voice. HMPH, Zan Tong, members of our Hun clan have lost their lives in this place of yours. All of you share the blame. That old man who was called Hun Lin furiously cried out. Xiao Yan, I think that you should obediently follow me back to the Hun clan. If you are really not the murderer of Hun Ya and Hun Li, we will definitely not make things difficult for you. The other black-clothed old man coldly cried out. Preposterous. Xiao Yan could not resist laughing out loud when he heard this. These two old fellows were really foolish. They were actually able to say such words. Misters, the heavenly tomb is filled with danger. No one dares to guarantee that one will be able to smoothly exit it. If you do not have the evidence to prove that Xiao Yan Gege is the murderer, please do not randomly attack. This place is after all my Gu clan. Xuan'er's pretty eyes glanced at the Hun Lin duo as she faintly spoke. Additionally, this matter is not considered over. Hun Ya and Hun Li once launched a sneak attack on everyone from our Gu clan in the heavenly tomb. The two of you will perhaps have to give an explanation for this. The many eyes in the sky emitted a swoosh sound as they shifted to the two Hun elders when they heard Xuan'er's words. Most of those present were members of the Gu clan. Hence, those eyes vaguely contained some ill intent. Hun Lin, is what Xuan'er said true? Elder Tong Zan's expression gradually became ugly. He looked at Hun Li and Hun Ya before crying out in a deep voice. Xuan'er possessed the divine bloodline. She was undoubtedly the most important person in the Gu clan. If Hun Ya and Hun Li really dared to attack her, he would definitely teach the elders an unforgettable lesson. The faces of Hun Lin's duo changed when they saw that Xuan'er had turned the tables on them. They did not expect Hun Ya and Hun Li to be so bold. They dared to attack Xuan'er's group in the heavenly tomb, but it was obvious that they must not admit that Xuan'er's group was attacked at this moment no matter what. Hun Li coldly cried out, HMPH, what unreasonable words. You are only trying to clear yourself of suspicion. Today, we are in the Gu realm and the two of us can indeed do nothing. However, Xiao Yan, you better remember that the Hun clan will definitely take revenge for Hun Ya and Hun Li in the future. Xiao Yan's face was calm. He faintly replied, I will remember your words in my heart. The eyes of the Hun elders became dark and cold when they heard Xiao Yan's reply. Forget about the members of the Gu clan present. With the increase in Xiao Yan's strength, the two of them would have difficulty capturing him. All they could do was wave their hands and grab Hun Li and Hun Ya's corpses. Their faces were furiously green as they turned into two black shadows that rushed to the exit of the Gu realm. A cold expression flashed across Xiao Yan's eyes as he watched the two figures grow distant. His eyes swept carefully around him. However, he discovered that the little fairy doctor's group was absent. This discovery caused him to frown. The little fairy doctor's group would definitely leave one person waiting for him unless there were some special circumstances. Could it be that something has happened to the Falling Star Pavilion? If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Continuing from the previous episode 441. Chapter 1370. Revealing one's hands. Elder Tong Zan's body moved as he watched Hun Lin's two-man team grow distant. He appeared in front of Xuan'er and asked, Xuan'er, are you all right? Xuan'er shook her head. Xiao Yan beside her hesitated for a moment before cupping his hands together and asking, Elder Tong Zan, may I know where the little fairy doctor's group is now? They left 3 months after you entered the heavenly tomb. It is likely that they returned to the Falling Star Pavilion. However, they did not explain what happened. All they said is to inform you to swiftly return to the Falling Star Pavilion once you come out. Elder Zan Tong thought for a moment before replying. Xiao Yan frowned when he heard this. He immediately nodded and hesitated for a moment. Finally, he faced Xuan'er and said, it seems that something has indeed happened. This time around, I will not remain in the Gu clan for long. Are you leaving with me this time? Xuan hesitated for a moment when she heard this. She was just about to nod her head when Elder Tong Zan by the side hurriedly said, Xuan, there have been some big matters in the Gu clan recently. After a discussion by the elders, you must not leave the Gu realm. What happened? Xuan knit her brows as she asked. Elder Tong Zan hesitated for a moment. He glanced at Xiaoyan. He was just about to say something when Xuan indifferently said, Elder Tong Zan, just say what you have to say. There are no outsiders here. Elder Tong Zan could only helplessly nod his head when he heard Xuan words. He softly answered, the Ling realm has suddenly been shut. Ling realm? Shut. Xiaoyan and Xuan were startled. Xuan expression immediately changed. It's the Ling clan? Xiaoyan mused for a moment when he saw the change in Xuan expression. He came to an understanding. This Ling realm was likely the realm where the Ling clan, which was one of the 8 ancient clans, resided. Why was the Ling realm suddenly shut? No wonder the Ling clan did not send anyone to the heavenly tomb this time around. Xuan knit her brows as she spoke. We have no idea. We have dispatched experts to investigate, but we have failed to obtain even the slightest news. The space where the Ling realm was originally located has completely disappeared. Even after some elders within the clan went to probe, they were unable to discover anything. That manner is as though the Ling realm has been completely hidden. Elder Tong Zan frowned as he explained the situation. Clearly, this unusual matter was really baffling. Sealing the realm and hiding it. They would definitely not do this unless they meet with an extremely big matter. Could it be that the Ling clan has met with a trouble so large that even they are unable to resolve it? Xuan softly muttered, I am not certain about this. Although the Ling clan has been showing signs of declining during these years and had seldom come into contact with us, they still possess an extremely rich foundation. Even the Gu clan, being another of the 8 ancient clan, would have difficulty forcing them into such a state. Elder Tong Zan's brows contained some worry as he continued, clan head and the rest are doing their best to investigate this matter. If the Ling clan has really met with some catastrophe, we will have to take additional precaution. Hence, I'm afraid that you will not be able to leave the Gu realm during this period of time. Xuan curled her little mouth. Her face had become a little grave. This was the first time in many years that an ancient clan had actually sealed their realm to hide themselves. This kind of unexpected matter caused one's heart to become a little heavy. Xuan since now is not the right time, you should remain in this Gu realm. This place is the safest. Xiaoyan frowned and mused for a moment before he spoke with a grave expression. He was unfamiliar with the so-called Ling clan. Hence, he was unaware of just how terrifying their strength was, but since they could be considered one of the ancient clans, they were likely extraordinary. It would still be alright if they met with a non-human related disaster. If it was a man-made disaster, it would be a little shocking. Elder Tong Zan by the side sighed in relief when he heard Xiaoyan's words. Xuan hesitated for a moment before gently nodding. Her pretty eyes looked at Xiaoyan as she said, in that case, Xiaoyan Gege should be careful outside. The enmity between the Hun clan and you is becoming deeper. There is no guarantee when they will dispatch a true expert. Relax. Xiaoyan smiled and replied. Ha ha, young friend Xiaoyan, please stay in the Gu realm for one night. Our Gu clan will send you and everyone else out of the Gu realm tomorrow. Tong Zan grinned as he spoke. Xiaoyan did not object Elder Tong Zan's arrangement. He would need the Gu clan to open the spatial door if he wished to leave. Hence, he nodded immediately. The moonlight was like water as it scattered down from the sky and covered this lush and quiet mountain range. Xiaoyan stood with his hands behind his back in front of a quiet bamboo house. He watched the bright moon in the sky and felt a melancholy in his heart. Although only half a year had passed in the outside world, he had been together with Xuan in the heavenly tomb for 3 years. These 3 years of being together had already caused him to get used to her being by his side. However, he was about to leave tomorrow. He did not know when they would meet again. Xiaoyan Gege. A soft, gentle voice suddenly appeared behind Xiaoyan as he sighed. Immediately, Xiaoyan's hands, which were behind him, felt a soft, smooth, warm hand gently grab his. A beautiful face that caused even the bright moon to lose its appeal appeared in front of him. That gentle and beautiful smile caused a warmth to flow within his heart. Xuan, there's a matter that I need to talk to you about. Xiao Yan hesitated for a moment as he searched that beautiful face before he finally spoke. Xun Er's long eyelashes fluttered when she heard Xiao Yan's words. Her face leaned on Xiao Yan's chest as she softly asked, "Is it the matter related to Kai Lin?" Xun Er clearly sensed Xiao Yan's body stiffen a little when she said those words. She lifted her pretty face and saw the expected, a stunned face. You know about it?" Xiao Yan studied Xun Er's smiling face that contained a slyness as he exclaimed in shock. "I am worried about you and can only relax after gaining information about you. Given my status in the GU clan, there are people who will take the initiative to deliver any information about you to me. Kai Lin is included among this information." Xun Er softly muttered. This matter. A warmth surged into Xiao Yan's heart when he heard Xun Er muttering to herself. He was just about to say something, but he had only managed to get 2 words out before having no idea what he should say. His usual eloquence seemed to have been lost today. He was aware that the person in his embrace was viewed by a countless number of people as a goddess regardless of whether they were from the GU clan or the outside world. Being able to hug this almost perfect lady was already a great luxury. It was likely that many people would think him overboard if he still greedily wished to enjoy multiple women in front of her. Xiao Yan's clumsiness at this moment caused Xun Er to shake her head as she muttered to herself. "Back then, I was also very furious, but I have been unable to forget about you still. Since I am unwilling to forget, I will ultimately have to endure. However, you must not be let off too easily." Xun Er's final word had just sounded when she opened her small mouth and ruthlessly bit Xiao Yan's chest. This time around, she did not show any mercy. Even the corner of Xiao Yan's mouth involuntarily twitched a couple of times when she bit him. However, he merely stood there without daring to move. The dou qi within his body was also suppressed. He was afraid that any retaliation from his dou qi would harm Xun Er. "I will see whether you will still dare to be a womanizer in the future." Xun Er only released her small mouth a moment later. She lifted her pretty face. Her ferociousness appeared exceptionally lovely under the moonlight. A fire suddenly surged within Xiao Yan's heart as he observed Xun Er, who appeared very much like a little girl at this moment. He suddenly lowered his head and ruthlessly pressed down on Xun Er's small mouth, stunning her. Xun Er's lovely body stiffened when she was suddenly assaulted by Xiao Yan. An embarrassed redness spread down her long neck like a burning cloud. It reached the tip of her delicate ears before coming to a halt. Xun Er began to struggle gently after she stilled for a moment. However, her narrow waist was being tightly embraced by Xiao Yan's arms. She struggled briefly for a moment before she finally felt some lust. She allowed Xiao Yan to wantonly grab her. At this moment, that goddess from the GU clan had become so gentle that she could melt anything. The 2 figures appeared to have melted together under the bright moonlight that scattered down. Their rich desire had caused even the bright moon to quietly hide behind some dark clouds. Only after the moonlight gradually dimmed did the pair of lovers, who had been pressed tightly against each other, separate. A flame of desire rose within Xiao Yan's lower abdomen when he saw Xun Er's flush red face, which was extremely enchanting. His eyes wandered over her body with a fiery heat. His hand, which had been hugging her delicate waist, slowly began to move along her tempting curves. However, Xiao Yan was preparing to take the next step when a soft cough suddenly formed within this serene bamboo forest. This sudden soft cough was like thunder. It caused Xiao Yan and Xun Er to separate as if they had been electrocuted. Their eyes looked in the direction where the sound had originated, only to find a middle-aged man in ordinary clothes standing a short distance away. That face surprisingly belonged to the clan head of the GU clan, who was Xun Er's father, Gu Yuan. Xun Er's originally flush red face turned even redder when she saw Gu Yuan. Her hand ruthlessly pinched Xiao Yan's waist before her lovely body moved and she left to hide in her room. Xiao Yan could only bitterly laugh when he saw Xun Er flee. He immediately hardened his skin and looked at Gu Yuan with some embarrassment. "If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible.